Okay, I have a ticket number system here with a ticket printer. I want to show you how to connect everything up today. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to connect the buttons. So I'm going to turn this over. Now I've already got a power connector in here. These four connections here are for the power, and they go to the power supply, and I got that back there in the corner. So, but right here is plus V and ground, and there's a 4-conductor cable. And the wiring diagram will show you the exact color code. Okay, now we also have buttons in here. Now this is good for 8 buttons. There's buttons 1, 2, 3, 4 for Windows 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you have, let's say, 4 windows, then you only use these 4 buttons. If you have up to, this is good for up to 8 windows, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if you have a system with more than 8 windows, there will be another circuit board down here, and you'll see a place here where there's a place to add a circuit board. You remove the tape on the other side and you insert another circuit board and add a couple more connections. The wiring diagram shows you how to do that. But right now we're just going to have 2 buttons. I've already got them wired in here. I happen to have it wired to window 3, which is the 3, which is kind of under the wire there. And then the G, which is ground. And then Windows 6 over here, I have the black wire on the G and the red wire on window 6, or the number 6 there. Now, if you have several windows, you're going to have a common ground, so you're going to have several wires under the ground, and only 1 under each of the numbers, respectively 1 through 8. Okay, so that's the button connections, and the other end, I'm just using doorbell buttons. So you just hook the red and black wires to the button and screw the screw terminals down. And I've got 2 buttons. Okay. Now let's make sure the buttons work. So if I push this button here, you notice the light comes on. This button's connected to Windows 6, and you'll see the light come on for Windows 6. And I have this button connected to Windows 3, the light comes on for Windows 3. And for each of the 8 windows, or 16 if you have more than 8, you'll see an LED corresponding to the button, and when you press the button, the light should come on. When the button's not pressed, the light should be off. So that's an important but simple test to make sure your buttons are functioning properly. Okay, I'm going to connect the displays next. I have 2 cables. These are green. You can use any color you want to, but I happen to have green. And our wiring diagram here, which you'll receive, just shows green there, but it really doesn't matter what color you're using. Okay, so we're going to plug that into the top row here. Any of these connectors can be used. They're all identical. They're all connected in parallel. And so any of the displays can be connected there, and there's room for up to 5 displays. If you have more than 5 displays, they can be daisy chained at the display end to give you more connections. The power supply is capable of 9 amps, so which means you can drive quite a few displays off of this. Okay, now next we want to hook up the ticket printer. Now these 2 buttons, these 2 inputs right here, are for the ticket printer. And right here you'll see in and out to the ticket printer. Okay, now we're going to turn the ticket printer around. We're going to look at the end of it, and you're going to see 2 connections. I'm going to use the blue wire for the in on the ticket printer, and I'm going to use the red wire for the out on the ticket printer. Like I said, you can use whatever colors you want, but our diagram shows red and blue, so it'll be easier to demonstrate. I'm going to turn this ticket printer around, set it down. I'm going to connect the other end of these wires. Okay, the blue was in, and it's going to go to the out on this interface module. The red was out on the ticket printer. It's going to go to the in on the interface module. Okay, now I have one controller to connect. This is the controller. This controller connects to where it says controller here. And I have two more wires, and I happen to have chosen black and yellow because that's what I have available, and that's what the diagram shows. But you can use any color. I'm going to connect out on the interface module to the controller. If you look at the controller, you can see in and out. So the yellow goes to the in on the controller. The black goes to the out on the controller and to the in connection on the interface module. So now everything's connected. Okay, so let's make sure everything works right. First of all, these two LEDs on the interface module should be blinking. That indicates it's receiving data from the controller. You'll also notice there's a little LED on the controller that's going to be blinking every second. So this data coming from the controller goes out on the black cable to the in jack on the interface module and causes these two LEDs to blink. Now on the controller there's a test button. I'll press this test button and I should see something up here on the display. Now what I see on here is the unit address A00 and for the window display, and for the client's waiting display A58. And then some other messages appear as I press the button. And if you have a beeper in there, it'll show, you hear the beeper sound. Okay, so that verifies that the communication works from the controller through the interface module and out to the display. Okay, now let's verify that the ticket printer is connected. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cover to the ticket printer, and I'm going to turn it sideways to make it easier to see. Now this in LED should be blinking every second. Now the problem is it's really dim, so it's going to be hard to see, so you may have to shadow it to see it blinking, but it is actually blinking. I don't think you're going to see it in the camera, but it does blink, showing the data is being received from the controller, and it should blink in sync with these LEDs on the controller. This out LED will only blink when I push a button. Okay, on here I have the test button. When I push this test button, it should cause something to happen. First of all, this out LED will blink each time I press the button. Second of all, this LED on the far left where it says next to the in on this should blink each time I press the test button. So that means data is coming from the ticket printer to the interface module. And the other thing that should happen is that out to the controller should blink every second, and or every time I press this button. So both the left LED and the right LED should blink. So that verifies the data is coming in from the ticket printer and going out to the controller. If anything is not working right, then there's a cable connection missing. And also the display should change. You'll see different test patterns appear on the display, or dashes, or something will happen on the display each time you press this button. Also, you're going to see a message appear in the lower right hand corner of the LCD display, and now it says no ticket. That means that there was no ticket to be served, and so you're not going to see anything. But if there were a ticket to be served, you'd see a ticket number appear. So that verifies communication going back to the ticket printer. If I were to press the button to print a ticket, let's say printed, and it comes back and says ticket 7. So we know that a ticket was printed and it was ticket number 7. So this provides a response back. So we know that the communication is working from the controller to the interface module back to the ticket printer.